Hi folks, happy Friday. I apologize that I am 10 minutes late tonight, but cheers to making it through week 6 of the COVID crisis or COVID quarantine. I am late because my yard people came and were blowing. And for those of you who were on the Kilpatrick Townsend webinar where I had every technology problem under the sun, I was having a little bit of PTSD. So I literally would not start the Facebook Live until the yard people were in their van and leaving because I was so worried that they were going to start up with their blowers again. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah-Nell Walsh, and I am a professional coach, a former practicing attorney, and the founder of Wayfinders LLC. I help ambitious professional women go for it. I help them grow their businesses, develop leadership skills, and make their desired impact on their organizations, their families, and the world. Y'all, right now is such a weird time. You know, when the quarantine first started, I was really regretful that I didn't get my nails done. And I talked about it to anyone who would listen because it's one of those things where you feel like you could go any day. And so I had just been deprioritizing it. And I hadn't gotten my nails done. And then quarantine, for me, unexpectedly started on Friday, March 13th. And I hadn't had my nails done in like a really long time, like maybe over a month. And I really regretted that. And I felt kind of this weird sadness and grief around the fact that this little ritual of self-care of mine, I hadn't been able to take care of. And then this week, our governor down here in Georgia has made some interesting proclamations. And all of a sudden, tomorrow, I can go get my nails done. And you know what's really weird? I don't even want to. I don't want to go get my nails done because that is no longer taking care of myself. That is no longer the best way that I can show love for myself and for my family. And it no longer makes me show up better to have my nails done. It always makes me feel more put together and kind of more polished when I have my nails done. But now it would create anxiety that I was getting sick or that I was putting other people at risk of being sick for my vanity. Now, if y'all are running out tomorrow to get your nails done, I will not judge you because everyone needs to make a living and everyone needs to feel good about themselves. We are all experiencing this time in our lives very, very differently. And I am doing my very best to hold space for all those different ways that we're experiencing the pandemic and this crisis. And I'm going to drink my cocktail because it's Friday. But what I can do right now to help is I can share my unique skills and viewpoint as a coach with y'all and with my clients to hopefully help make moving through this time just a little bit easier. So before we talk more about self-care, I would love it so much if you would share this video with your network. Go down to the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see a share button, and the bottom option is start a watch party. And if you start a watch party and you tag me in it, you can be entered to win one of these beautiful new Wayfinder water bottles that I'm going to be showing on Monday because we have our first 2 winners, which I'll be announcing on Monday. So tag me in a watch party and keep an eye on your DMs to see if it's you. Now on to self-care. You cannot serve from an empty cup. The first time I heard this, it really resonated with me. Because you think of a water pitcher, and when it's full, you can serve the whole table. And when it's empty, you can't serve anyone, including yourself. So taking care of yourself is key to staying healthy, to excelling at work, and to nurturing your family. And so the first part of this is really your health, y'all. You need to go to your routine doctor's appointments. I needed to go to the dentist before this pandemic started. I was due for my update in February and I didn't get it scheduled. And it's another thing I really regret because I don't know when I'm going to get to the dentist. I'm sure they're going to be so busy when everything reopens. And I really wish that I had kept to my schedule and that I had taken better care of myself by going to my annual doctor's appointments. So this goes for your physicals. This goes for your blood work. This goes for your lady doctor. This goes for your prostate doctor. This goes for your mental health providers, especially now. Your health needs to be your number one priority. Without it, you can't achieve any of your other objectives, and you can't show up at home as your best self for your family. Unfortunately, I have had 2 friends have COVID, and one of the things that they really regretted about it is that they had to quarantine in their bedrooms, and they couldn't be the moms that they wanted to be. They definitely couldn't be the professionals they wanted to be during that time. And so while that is outside of your control, preventative health is definitely something that's within all of our controls, and we need to make time for that in our busy, busy schedules. Mental health, also so important. There ain't no shame in taking an antidepressant, an anti-anxiety drug, or an ADHD drug. In fact, all of those are taken by a member of our household. And so, you know what? If it can help us show up and live a little saner during these insane times, I say go for it, y'all. Don't be more miserable or unhappy or anxious or depressed than you need to be. Glennon Doyle famously sings, "I know Jesus loves me so, for he gave me Lexapro." And so that always makes me laugh. So another thing you can do is get back to basics. Are you getting enough sleep? Do you have good sleep hygiene? And for me, when I stop sleeping well, it's because something in my day that leads up to my evening when I actually hit the pillow has gone off track. And so I always need to get back to shutting screens off an hour before I go to bed, making sure that I'm really diligent about taking melatonin, spraying my lavender spray on my sheets, maybe taking a bath and reading right before I go to bed to really signal to my body that it's time to go to sleep and it's time to relax. Evening meditations can also really help reduce your heart rate and get your body ready to go to sleep. Eat your fruits and veggies, drink your water, have a good laugh. If water and laughter were medicine, we would all be on it. If they were prescription pills, everyone would be prescribed them because of their health benefits. Look it up, y'all. Water and laughter literally help just about everything. And move your body in a way that feels good to you. I hasten to use the term exercise because that term for some people has really been imbued with a negative context and is an obligation. But get outside and move your body in a way that makes you feel good, or at least in a way that you don't dread. Also, quiet your mind. Right now, all of us have so many thoughts racing through our minds. And a great way to quiet your mind is with a reflective practice. On Tuesday, I think it was, I discussed all my favorite reflective practices in the Facebook Live on mindset. And so you can go back and watch that and hear all about meditation and mindfulness and journaling and gratitude, all reflective practices that can help you stay present in the moment and that can also really help you take care of yourself by learning how to take control of your thoughts. Got all my notes here. So once your mind is quiet, then what? I would really encourage you to listen to the wisdom of your body and hear what it's telling you. I had a call today with one of my dear friends who also happens to be a coach, and her body had so much to say to her about all the stress in her life. And she really had not slowed down to take the time to listen to her body and what it was that she really needed, because her mind was just constantly racing. But some of the questions you can ask yourself in order to really get the messages that your body is sending is, when do you feel most alive? What activities are you drawn to? And what are you willing to do over and over again until you get it right? Those questions evoke messages from your body. And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but you have 3 centers of intelligence: mind, body, and spirit. And so all of those centers of intelligence have different things to say to you. And so it's important to listen to all of them. And another question I love to ask my clients is, what brings you joy? Not your husband, not your kids, not your boss, not your friends, but what do you do purely for yourself? And I'm embarrassed kind of to admit that not that long ago, I couldn't list one thing that I did purely for myself that brought me joy. Sure, I was happy enough. I was going to a lot of kids' birthday parties, but in the busyness of striving to be a partner at a law firm and the insta perfect mom, I had really lost my job. I mean, my joy. I had my job. I was grinding all the time. I was grinding all day at work to get my work done quickly enough to get home. And then I was grinding all night at home so I could get all the things done I needed to get done, so I could put the kids to bed on time, so I could log back on and grind some more at work. And when someone asked me, what do you do for fun? And I literally couldn't answer the question, I went about in a very typical type A way about finding my joy. And the funny thing is, now I find joy all around. I find joy in my morning cup of coffee, in the pinky purple hues of a sunrise, at dancing at the basement with so many people and my best girlfriends, although I don't know when we'll ever be back there because they pack so many sweaty bodies in such a small space. I don't know that I'll ever be able to go to the basement and do that again. I hope I can. It brought me so much joy, but after COVID, I don't know. And even in writing and doing these Facebook Lives, they're terrifying, and yet they do bring me joy. I used to think of joy as these mountaintop moments like vacation or a promotion or getting married or the birth of my children, when it feels like you're on top of the world and like nothing can touch you. But now I know that joy is more of a contentedness. It's a mindset of delighting in the world around you and your unique place in it. And I see so many joyless mamas, both in my practice, in my neighborhood, and also in the webinars and the presentations that I give. They are grinding through their work days just like I used to, and grinding through their evenings, trying to get an impossible amount of things done. And for these women, they're just so busy. They feel guilty taking any time for themselves when there is so much work to be done, both at work and at home. And it feels like if they take any time for themselves, then some of that work just isn't going to get done. And I get it, because as we discussed on Wednesday, when we were talking about claiming space for yourself, society has told us that the ideal female is selfless, which necessarily means that seeking joy is selfish. But you know what? I reject that notion. If we as mothers model selfless love for our kids, they will think that's what parental love looks like. And consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously, that's what they'll live out when they become parents. Or they won't become parents at all. I want my kids to see me living a life that they'd want for themselves, a life that's full of joy, a life that I'd want for them. So how do we do that? We do it by systematically working at it, just like we systematically work at everything else. The same way you bring in a new client, raise money for your kid's school, or work to get your child seen by that world-renowned specialist, you work at finding joy. And so I started a few years ago, I think this was in 2017, so 3 years ago, by making a list of all the activities that brought me joy in the past. And this included Pilates, rollerblading, reading fiction, dancing, skiing, and community service. And then I started experimenting with incorporating these different activities into my daily life. And some of the experiments worked really well and fit really well with my life, like reading fiction before I go to bed. And some of them literally fell flat on their face, like rollerblading, where I fell down more times trying to rollerblade than I ever thought possible. But that was like a few years ago. And so I'm kind of thinking about trying it again. Because that's what makes me happy. And experimenting with what makes me happy is how I continue to find joy in all the small things. My practice of delight brings me a lot of joy. And Joy is just found being fully present in our everyday experiences, feeling the sun on my face when I finish a grueling run, laughing until my sides hurt with my friends, and picking flowers as we go on our neighborhood walks with the kids. Now, these are wildflowers. I am not picking your roses if you live in Lake Claire. I've seen some signs, stop taking my roses. That is not me. I've realized that Annie Dillard was right when she said, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. What we do at this hour and that one is what we are doing with our lives. So I'll leave you with this question. How can you take better care of yourself? Are you living a life you would want for your beloved child? Happy Friday, y'all. I hope you have such great weekends, and I am here rooting for you. Take care.